Mademoiselle and Sassy Deuxième Chanel and Jeudi. We are going to be talking about the pagan beginnings of Thanksgiving. Now, what's very interesting about this video is I've always wanted to do the pagan type of history behind a lot of holidays because I love to just talk about Haitian voodoo and just all types of different practices, beliefs, different mythical creatures. And a lot of people love to just be like,
oh, that's demonic, oh, that's evil, I could never, I'm Christian, this is horrible, how dare you?
And I just be like, do y'all know that a lot of things that y'all celebrate every goddamn day is pagan? Okay? Do y'all know a lot of the things that you guys deem as evil and such is like technically evil in itself? Do you guys know that a lot of things that you guys do on a regular, consistent basis can be seen as pagan, including your sacred Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, and everything else under the sun? With that being said, let me make sure that I tell you before you proceed with this video, I might just ruin your childhood, okay? And I might just ruin your religious or spiritual beliefs with this video. And honestly, it is what it is. Do your own research. Everything will be referenced down below. But as you guys eat your Thanksgiving dinner, just understand that everything that you've been told your entire life is a lie, okay? Of course, we all know that everything that they tell us is a lie for a reason, because the truth is usually way worse. This situation was pretty interesting to uncover because I personally didn't know a lot of this information. I just knew that it had pagan beginnings. Now, a lot of people when they hear pagan don't necessarily know what people are talking about. So let's just get into that. But of course, make sure you guys smash that subscribe button, smash that like button, smash everybody you know that can help a sister out. And make sure you guys go follow my main channel where I do rants, commentary, and reactions on social issues and trending topics pertaining to the Black community, more pertaining to Black women. So let's get into it. So what is pagan? In general, pagan means someone who believes in non-mainstream religion or mainstream beliefs. However, paganism is an actual spiritual belief and or religion, and they've been around for a very long time, and they have some very interesting beliefs that I feel like a lot of people can actually fall into, if not do fall into. They have their roots in Europe, and they had a huge spike in the 1950s. Their values are deeply rooted in diversity and unity, and they have multiple networks and different types of groups that help keep the organization together. Most of them hold a vegan or vegetarian diet, and they have multiple beliefs in different gods and goddesses. However, goddess worship is central. Most other people and most other spiritual beliefs believe that, you know, animals and everything else is kind of on a different playing field than humans, but with them, they believe that we are part of the Earth's ecosystem and we are all one, and everything that we do is kind of synonymous with the earth. They also believe in reincarnation, and they view death as a continuing process of existence. So pretty interesting, and that is why I say I feel like a lot of people in general may fall into paganism, because this sounds like a lot of people on TikTok and Instagram, if you ask me. But anyhow, let's get into the pagan history of Thanksgiving. So when it comes to Thanksgiving, I feel like a lot of us were told about the same thing growing up, okay? We are painted this very nice picture of the Pilgrims breaking bread with the Native Americans, and then of course as we grow up we find out that the whole thing is a bunch of bullshit, and the colonizers ain't shit, and the Pilgrims was not that nice, and of course the Native Americans was trying to teach them how to grow corn because they were hoping that they didn't survive winter, and you know, they weren't that nice to them anyway, and hurrah hurrah. But that is the American picture. In fact, Thanksgiving did not actually actually start in America whatsoever. That is actually pretty new to us. The idea of Thanksgiving started in Europe, okay? And when it comes to us, we did not really adopt the idea until much later on. Americans did not fuck with the idea of Thanksgiving at all because of the pagan roots. And when it comes to the church was always looking at Thanksgiving like, we not fucking with that shit, don't bring that shit over there. And it took a long time for any church to even think about or talk about the idea of Thanksgiving, with a lot of churches still not even discussing Thanksgiving as a whole. I remember, like, even growing up Catholic or going to certain Protestant churches, a lot of them would like probably never even bring up Thanksgiving. It would kind of be like, yeah, so if you guys want a turkey, yeah, you can go to this drive, but yeah, so for Christmas, like, it was like kind of almost glazed over. So if you guys somehow are going to a church and the pastor's trying to give you some sort of ministry on Thanksgiving, know that your pastor's probably full of shit, because most people who are Christian do not believe in the idea of Thanksgiving whatsoever, especially in the United States. If you're in Europe, it's completely different because there's a lot going on over there. So let's get into that. So there are pagan ties to Thanksgiving throughout history, and one of the first one ties to the Roman Cerilia celebration. One was a Roman celebration for their goddess called Cerilia. Now, if you guys are not familiar with Rome, they had so many gods, okay? And a lot of their celebrations took place in this season, okay? A lot of them had harvest type of celebrations for their gods. This particular celebration was called Cerilia, I believe. Now, understand, I can't say shit. I probably am mispronouncing a lot of these things, just like I can't say a lot of things in my own culture correctly. So please don't take anything wrong. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. This celebration was for their grain goddess called Ceres. In Rome, they had so many different harvest celebrations for their gods and goddesses. Taking it back to Britain, Britain actually had a 3-day feast called Harvest Home. It was literally a church service followed by a communal dinner. And what's crazy about this is the Puritans did not like this. Now you guys are probably like, wait, Puritans, where did I hear this? School. Okay, the Puritans were very, very different. And they're the group of people that kind of started this whole hoopla of Thanksgiving and pagans are bad, whatever the case may be. So let's do a little bit of a backtrack type history lesson real quick. So Puritans were a group of people that kind of broke off from the regular Christians and Catholics in a sense. So Puritans were the group or the sect of people that sought off to purify the Christians and the Catholics or whatever. All right, so the Puritans were a religious sector or a religious practice, I should say, who sought out to purify the English Church of Britain. Now, the English Church of Britain was Roman Catholic, but was actually separated. Now, when King Henry VIII separated them, shit really hit the fan because the Protestants rose heavily, bro. They were like very, very prominent at the time. And at this point, like, this is where they really went on their campaign and they started saying, like, you know, everyone needs to be more Protestant. Everyone needs to be, you know, the Church of England is bad. Look at what they're doing. And they really started to attack the whole harvest home situation, saying that the harvest home was pagan, saying that the harvest home was dangerous, saying that it was a demonic practice, saying that it was wrong, that they're serving multiple gods, etc. It was horrible. Now, the whole situation with multiple gods and stuff comes from a lot of people thinking that Catholic people serve multiple statues and serve multiple gods, and that is not true. People need to do their research. Catholic people do not serve multiple gods. We have multiple saints that actually are revered as very important people in history, but they're not multiple gods. They are not on any level as a god. They are just important people in history that we think are important. And a lot of this can be misconstrued as people saying, oh, well, Catholic people serve multiple gods. That's not what it is. So a lot of things were clashing. A lot of things became amiss. So they were bashing Harvest Home and they were telling people, this is horrible. This is not something you should follow. Honestly, think of the Puritans as as modern day Jehovah's Witness, okay? But it was literally a campaign to stop people from joining the English Church of Britain and anything that just wasn't Protestant. So under King Edward VI, you know, they're going strong, Protestant rose, but then when we had Queen Mary from 1553 to 1558, they all had to go into exile because shit went back to Catholic. They still remained in their mission, but since they were kind of like out, they were still pushing the rhetoric of we need to be more Protestant. So eventually the Church of England stopped doing the home harvest thing because I guess people kept coming at them for the home harvest. You know, people started fighting. It became a real big thing. They thought of Church of Thanksgivings, and they thought of a couple other names, I believe, that I saw. Correct me below if I'm wrong. Then the name Thanksgiving came from Christians. So at this point, the Puritans was like, all right, we can't get rid of them. So if we can't beat them, let's join them. And that is where Christians came up with the idea of Thanksgiving. So, and then we can think the idea of home harvest in the past and feasting coming from them. So still pagan. So we kept the idea of home harvest from the Church of England. We have the name of the Thanksgiving from Christians. We have kind of Church of Thanksgivings from Church of England. You know, everything kind of has its own place. So at this point, the Puritans are mad as hell. They in exile, they're annoyed, and their mission really isn't going anywhere. We can't beat them, so let's join them. So let's think of our own way to celebrate, pay homage to our God, since we can't really do anything and convert everyone. So that is where the idea of Thanksgiving was birthed, and now we have Thanksgiving as we know it today. When all of the whole colonies and everything was birthed, that was also taken to America. But like I said, Americans refused to kind of adopt the ideology within their churches. It never really kind of made its way into a church calendar for many, but there you have it. So that is kind of the pagan beginnings and the whole religious back and forth of how Thanksgiving came to be. So let's talk about the symbols real quick, because there's a lot that goes into that. So we all remember scribbling our nice little cornucopias and our corn and turkeys and everything else in kindergarten to maybe like what, 7th grade, whatever it was. And honestly, I used to hate coloring them damn Thanksgiving tables, because honestly, them shits was hard to color. Okay, cornucopias was easy, but everything else, I used to have to get my nice little color pencils to do those, and color pencils hurt. Like, I actually color with my color pencils down. I'm like, yeah, that actually does not really feel nice to color with. Like, and those are the only ways to get the nice little corners. But anyhow, a lot of people don't know that every little thing on your Thanksgiving table actually has a meaning to it, and is pagan within itself. So everything from the cornucopia to the turkey to the corn actually has a meaning in pagan civilization. So let's start with the cornucopia. So with the cornucopia, one really interesting meaning is that the cornucopia actually has a connection to Zeus. Now, I actually would like to apologize. In one of my videos, I actually said that Greek mythology actually is not real and does not have a real religion. Apparently it does. I looked it up, and I actually want to do more videos on it, so stay tuned for that. The cornucopia connects to a story where a goat took his horn off and offered it to Zeus. Zeus then took the horn and was fed for the rest of his life with the horn. The turkey in Native American culture is very sacred. It actually represents abundance and fertility, and it represents how important the relationship between us and the land is. Even the feathers of the turkey are used during very important ceremonies. When we eat turkey on Thanksgiving, we are actually honoring the land. Corn has a very, very important role, especially in Native American cultures. In many Native American tribes, corn is a spirit within itself, and it also plays a very important role in many ceremonies. So next time you see your Thanksgiving table, just understand, as holier than thou as a lot of you may think that you are, you're most likely taking part in a very pagan history that you may have never thought of, because a lot of people don't think to look up these things. Instead, we want to scroll on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram all day and shame other people that do not have the same beliefs as us. When it comes to sports, there were a lot of different sporting events that took place during home harvest and other harvest type of celebrations that were similar to Thanksgiving back in the day. They had the Talithian games, I hope I'm saying that right, that consisted of wrestling, chariot games, archery, and so much more. And then there was Samahian that also had feasting and sporting games as well. So throughout history, there's been different type of harvest fests that honor different gods and goddesses, and a lot of it has just been adapted to American culture. Whether you're Christian, Catholic, whatever it is, just understand you should always look into your beliefs and other people's beliefs, and most importantly, the holidays that you want to celebrate, because chances are you're probably celebrating something that you may not approve of due to whatever it is that you've been fed. With that being said, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, do all that. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Of course, comment down below, what did you think of this video? What information did you know? Did you learn something new? Share this with a friend or 10 because interesting shit. All my information is linked down below. Sorry to burst your bubble. Not really though. And I'm gonna see y'all next time. Bye!